What is going on, everyone? Or should I say, ¿Qué pasó? Today, I thought we would do what so many people have been asking me to do, some videos about outside of the United States. Today, we'll be tackling Mexico. I get all forms of communication to this channel. Comments, emails, Twitter, Instagram DMs. I even get traditional mail to my P.O. box occasionally. One of the most frequent subjects is why do I call it World According to Briggs when I only do things about the US? Well, because I really didn't have a plan when I started this and kind of named it that. I thought I would eventually branch out of the US, but I really haven't felt much of a need. Truth be told, I currently have about 2 years worth of list ideas already, and every week we add a couple more, and 95% of them are about the United States. But since international videos get requested so much, a couple months back I did one on Vancouver, British Columbia, and Canada. Now it did okay, but not great, but it was okay. I did have one guy email me about how he unsubscribed because I must hate America because I'm making videos about Canada. Almost all of you right now are going, huh? Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I was like, what? I didn't follow his logic either. Anyway, so he's gone because of a Vancouver, Canada video. Who knew? Seeing that we did a video about our neighbors to the north, we should probably take a look at our neighbors to the south. Mexico. Mexico's right here. It's home to 126 million people. That's a lot of people, and has some incredibly interesting history. A couple of ancient civilizations, a handful of revolutions, a war with the United States back in the mid-1800s. Today we're not going to look at the history or statistics about Mexico. We're looking at the weird stuff about our neighbors to the south. So grab a margarita and watch my top 10 strange things about Mexico. Number 10. Sacrifice. Back in the Aztec days, in order to appease and worship their gods, these people would sacrifice their own people. During certain rituals every year, it's believed they would sacrifice up to 1% of the population, which is equal to about 2,000, 2,500 people, somewhere in that neighborhood. Some scholars believe it was more like 250,000 in total over the span of the civilization that were sacrificed during these rituals. I did a paper about the Aztecs when I was in college, and some believe that the number of sacrificed was more like 200,000 a year. Most researchers and most scholars chalk those guys up to crazy Aztec fanboys because it's really that's too many people. It just seems impossible. You would be knocking off 550 Aztecs a day for 365 days. That's tiring. You know, when you're sacrificing people and you get winded. You know, you just can't be doing that all day long. I think if I saw this happening down at the temple, I would quietly go home, pack up my family, and tell them we are going to live as Aztec nomads from now on. We are just going to wander the jungle until we meet friends that don't have a hankering to dispatch thy neighbor up to 1% every year. Number 9. Volcanoes. Mexico has many volcanoes and is home to one of the smallest volcanoes in the world. Cuexcamate is only about 43 feet high and 75 feet in diameter. This is an inactive volcano located in Puebla, which makes it the perfect place to go visit. I mean, it's south of Mexico City, so you're probably going to be touristing there anyway. Might as well go down and see the world's smallest volcano. The volcano even has a spiral staircase inside of it, so you can go down and see what's cracking downstairs. Like I said, it's an inactive volcano, but keep in mind also that I think Mount St. Helens was an inactive volcano for a while right before it blew up. I don't think it's very dangerous because they built a playground right around it. There's a whole little park there and a playground, but it is Mexico and it might be dangerous and nobody clued in that a playground next to a volcano is a bad idea. This thing's really so small, it's like a pimple on the earth. It's really not that big. Number 8. An underground river. Below the Yucca Tan Peninsula is the Saskatoon River System, or White Caves, as it translates. This is the longest underground river known to man. Well, I guess, of course, it's known to man. I probably didn't have to say that. If it wasn't known to man, how would we be talking about it? Anyway, I mean, it was known to fish for a long time. Anyway, moving on. It flows through 95 miles of limestone caves. Prior to 2018, it wasn't the longest. A subterranean river in the Philippines was thought to be the longest underground river in the world, but in 2018, a discovery of a link between the Saskatoon system and the Dos Anjos system, you know, kind of combine those two together to one, made it way longer than the one in the Philippines. The combined system is now considered the largest underwater cave system in the world. These rivers and cenotes are crazy. They look like something from a ride at Disneyland, like Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. It's really neat. Number 7. Language diversity. Although it's common knowledge that Spanish is the official language of Mexico, there's a total of 68 official languages recognized in the country, and possibly even more unofficial ones. Some of the top languages besides Spanish are Nahuatl, which is spoken by 1.7 million citizens. Mayan, yeah, they're still sticking around. At least these days, they're not like the Aztecs and they're knocking people off. Anyway, Mayan is spoken, as well as Mixtec. Mixtec is a great story. It has been around forever, so don't think the tech sound means it's new. It's not. And I've heard it pronounced differently too, not Mixtec, and I'm not even going to get into it. I'm struggling enough on this video with pronunciations and stuff. I'm just going to let it go. But this dialect is spoken in the mountain regions of central Mexico. There wasn't much known about it outside of Mexico and pretty much this mountain region until the 1990s. A graduate student from the US went down and actually wrote it down. Some say it was never actually documented prior to this graduate student in the late 1990s, I guess it was. And this is where we get some kind of language nerd leaving a comment. So just stop typing. Nobody likes a grammar cop. They sure as hell don't want to have a language history cop. But yeah, they got a lot of languages spoken in this country. No word if the Aztecs left their language around. I don't even know what they spoke. I don't know. Number 6. Chihuahua. Taco Bell isn't the only reason most people associate Chihuahuas with Mexico. Chihuahuas are originally from Mexico. They are the smallest breed of dog and is named after the area in Mexico, Chihuahua. Oddly enough, Chihuahua is the biggest state in Mexico. Smallest dog, big state, kind of weird. Speaking of Taco Bell, a comedian is the voice of that dog. His name is Carlos Alasraqui. If you remember the show Reno 911, he played Deputy James Garcia. He has also done all kinds of voiceover work from Disney's Planes, Happy Feet, Fairly Odd Parents, SpongeBob SquarePants, and The American Dad. He even reprised his role as the Taco Bell Chihuahua in a Geico commercial with the little lizard dude. Kind of neat. The dude has gotten a lot of work, and I would say his big break came from playing the Chihuahua from Taco Bell. Kind of cool. I met him once. He's a really nice guy. Doesn't know me. We just met. Shook his hand. Told him I loved his Taco Bell commercials. And he lifted his eyebrows at me and looked at me like, "You're crazy," and walked away. It was kind of cool. Number 5. Happiness. Mexicans have been proven to be one of the happiest people in the world. According to the World Happiness Report, it's a thing, the World Happiness Report, in 2018, Mexico was ranked 22nd out of 156 countries on their happiness. This is up one from the previous year where they were 23rd. Of course, that would be one up out of 156 countries. The reason this is strange and on this list, most of my viewers are from the United States. And in the United States, we seem to just see the negatives in the news about Mexico. Now, Mexico does have a big list of negatives, a very big list. All countries have some sort of, negativities, but we get, them on blast here in the United States. But once you get past all the things that have to do with the border and border towns and the crime, and you get into central Mexico, you will find that most of the Mexican people care about their religion and their families, and they're really good people. There was a documentary on Netflix called Happy. In the documentary, they explored happiness, in case the title didn't tip you off to that. One thing that jumped out was that people that are close to their families and usually have some religious views are happier than other people, no matter what their financial situation is. Number 4. Folklore. Mexican children are some of the most well-behaved children on the planet. This is because in Mexican culture, they scare the crap out of their kids with folk tales to make them behave. It's like scared straight bedtime stories. You have tales like that of the man who whistles, which basically he's a Mexican boogeyman who wanders around with a big bag of bones. He sneaks in the kid's room and takes out the bones and starts counting them. If you don't wake up during the counting, you never wake up. If you wake up, scares them away and you never see them. But anyway, then you have El Cucuy and of course the Alley of Hands, which these floating hands from some teenagers that apparently killed a priest. And now if you go down this alley, the hands try and choke. It's weird. They try and choke people apparently. Anyway. So these are all gory and horrible stories that try and scare your kids into doing things like staying in at night. You got the chupacabra, the goat sucker. If you get caught out at night, you could get caught by him and, he's going to kill you. So, yeah. It's all just really weird and really demented, but hey, that's how they keep their kids in line. That's fine. In the United States, we just threatened to shut down their Fortnite account and, then threaten our daughters of buying them nothing but turtleneck sweaters. Number 3, silver. For the past several years, Mexico has become the best country for silver mining in the world. While the global silver production is down by about 4.1%, Mexico's silver production is up by 5%, or about 10 million ounces a year. In 2017, the country was able to produce 196 million ounces of silver. Now, I'm sure that would have been far better news in 1980 when silver was going for about $114 an ounce. Currently, it's about $15 an ounce. The people of Mexico are really hoping Kodak and Polaroid go back to using film in cameras. They're like praying for that every day. At one point, photography consumed massive amounts of silver due to its light-sensitive characteristics. As non-silver photography has come to dominate the field, there's less of a demand. Likewise, there's a large stockpile of, old film that they actually are recycling, getting the silver out of. So silver these days is, relatively speaking, dirt cheap, which kind of sucks for Mexico, but at least they're getting something. Number 2, Yucca Tan. Yucca Tan is an area in southeast Mexico along the Gulf at the very tip of the country. The area got its name from a misunderstanding when the Spaniards came. They asked the natives what the area was called, and they responded by saying Yucca Tan, which is translated into their native language as, I don't understand you. The Spaniards thought that they were responding with the name of the place, but no, they're all like, what the hell are you talking about? That's what they were saying to them. So ever since, it's been called Yucca Tan. And that story reminds me of my grandmother ordering Chinese food. Nothing like seeing an elderly Irish woman and an elderly Chinese woman argue over the size of egg rolls for 20 minutes when you're 12 years old. Just go back and forth. And neither of them understood what either one was saying. It was incredible. And number 1, Mexico City's sinking. The demand for water is so high in Mexico that it's actually causing Mexico City to sink up to 3 feet per year in some areas. Underneath the city is an aquifer. Basically, it's a space underground which contains water from nearby lakes and rivers. Since the demand is so high, water has been taken from this area, making the city sink into the empty space. Now, I've also seen that some areas have dropped on average between 8 and 19 inches in a year. It's not just sinking the same rate everywhere. It's like a giant Tetris game for building planners. That must suck. You buy your house in 1980, 8 steps up to the front door, now it's 3 steps down. You had a place with a nice view of the park, and now your front door looks 3 feet up to the sidewalk. Just since the 1960s, the city has sunk over 32 feet in some areas. That's a lot of ground. This is a city of just under 9 million people that is slowly sinking and could potentially collapse into itself. That's kind of scary. It's a beautiful city too. If you've never been to Mexico City, it has some beautiful old buildings. It's an amazing place. It really is. All right, so that's my top 10 strange things about Mexico. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got some information out of it. I hope you like the international ones. I'm not going to do them all the time, just occasionally. So I hope you guys enjoy them. And to all the people that have been buying the black and pink to be nice to each other t-shirt, thanks. I didn't think adding, pink lettering to it would sell that many t-shirts, but thank you. Anyway, don't forget all the links below. Buy a t-shirt if you want. There's links in my description area. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.